There are three types of databases in the Nautilus software. There is the material database, the mold database, and the machine database. All the information that you'd put in these databases is used in some calculations in the compatibility tab, which we will be discussing here very soon. And when you come into the project section, there's a lot of information that's pre-filled to complete the mold validation studies. So it's important that you try to get as much information into the databases as possible. In the material database, you have got the information of the material, the data that you typically will find on the data sheets. For example, the melt temperatures, the mold temperatures, the specific gravities, and so on. All these values are typically available from the data sheets. In the mold database, you're going to input the values for the particular mold. For example, the mold number. The material here is a drop-down list that gets picked up from the previous screens. The orientation of the mold, if it's a horizontal mold or a vertical mold, and if it's a vertical mold, then you can put the number of bases over here. The hot runner volume, which is typically available from the hot runner supplier, cycle time, the size of the mold, and so on. And when you come to the right side, these are the typical values associated with the actual molded product. So for example, the part description, the part numbers, the number of cavities, the starting cavity number, the weight of one part, and so on. These are the typical things, again, that you'll find associated with a particular part. In the machine database, you're going to input all the information about the particular machine. For example, the tonnage, screw diameter, the maximum screw rotation speeds, the maximum injection pressure, and so on and so forth. So everything that's related to the molding machine is what you're going to put over here. For all these three databases, you can also have custom fields. So you can come in here and put the custom fields that you want. So you can come in here and say edit, and you can add your own custom fields, and these fields will show up on the right hand side out here, and you can fill these things out. The fields on the left hand side are mandatory if you want to save it in the database. However, the custom fields are not mandatory. Once you have all this information in the database, the first tab where this information is used is called as the Compatibility tab. In the Compatibility tab, you can find out where a given mold can run based on the physical requirements and at the same time the process requirements. This is called as the mold machine compatibility and the process machine compatibility. With the three dots here, you select the mold under consideration, enter the tons per square inch for the given material. In this case, I'm inputting 3.5. I would also like to keep the short size usage between 20% and 80%. And when I move that mold from one machine to another machine, on the second machine, I would like to have a desired cushion value of 5 millimeters or 0.15 inches. And once you have these input, click on Display Compatibility. What the software is going to do is it is going to generate the first tab, which is the mold machine compatibility, and tell you in which machine can this mold run based on the tonnage requirements, based on the percentage short size requirements, based on the residence time of the particular material, based on also the physical size of the mold. The software does this analysis for you and will generate the matrix. So in this case, the matrix is saying based on these requirements here and the information that was input into the database, machine 2, machine 4, machine 5, machine KM2, SMC MTU, the HAR220, all these machines are acceptable and the mold can run in these machines. In the second tab here, which is the process machine compatibility, we will see under project that you can generate a process sheet and record a process sheet. So in this case, the process sheet was recorded when the mold was qualified in machine 5. It gives you a short size value, a transfer position, cushion value, fill time, so on and so forth. All these values that are in a typical process sheet are input into the process sheet. And what the software does, it converts this process from machine 5 to every single machine in the shop. So for example, here, the machines that are in red, the software says it's not possible to process this mold in machine E6 because it requires 17.28 inches and the machine is not capable of getting 17.28 inches per second. However, it can run in ENT-WC2, ENT-WC105, HAR220, and so on. So once you have selected the molding machine where you want to move the mold to, you simply come in here, and let's assume that you want to run it in HAR220. You come in, once you select that and you click on the go button, you end up generating a process sheet for that machine. So now it does not have to be reprocessed in the second machine, and you can simply come in here and put the mold in this machine, and you should be able to run this mold and get the same quality of parts, as long as, of course, the machines are calibrated. The third tab here is a list of acceptable machines, which goes in and finds out which are the common machines between the mold machine compatibility and the process machine compatibility. So you come in and look at this, and it tells you machine KM2 is acceptable, which is mold machine compatible and process machine compatible. SMC MTU is also mold machine compatible and process machine compatible, and HAR220 is also the same. So you can run this in any three machines. Machine 5 is the reference machine where it was first qualified in. Remember, in the databases, we also could input custom fields. Those custom fields can also be used for the mold machine compatibility. So you come in here, say add a condition, mold custom field, there is a machine custom field, and there's an operator that you can choose. So for example, I would like to choose ejector stroke required on the mold should be less than the ejector stroke on the molding machine. So I'm going to select these here, and I would say save and close. And now when I run the mold machine compatibility again, you'll see that here there is another field that generated which says ejector stroke required dash ejector stroke, and now you also get these values here, and now it tells you there's machine KM2 that's acceptable for this condition. There's also machine 3, there's also machine 7, there's also machine HAR220. So again, you can come in here and look at this, and again when you go back to the list of acceptable machines, it looks like only KM2 and HAR220 are the ones that are acceptable. The compatibility screens will give you the information which machines are capable of not just for hanging the mold in the machine and having the required tonnage or the short size, but also if it has been processed in a different machine, will the process also transfer on to this machine.